yesterday, tweet at me the word butts if you can hear me perfectly well. Just want to know if this level of speaking is going to be good for you. Turn up your mic a bit. That's not what I'm asking. Butts if it's perfect. That's what I want. Butts! Good. Perfect. Love you guys. Alright, so, hey guys, it's coffee time. This almost just slipped straight out of my hand and would have ruined everything. I would have gotten all sorts of delicious coffee all over these clothes, which would have been fine. Then they legit would have been my clothes. But, yeah, okay. So, today, for coffee time, our college topic is going to be roommates. Because you hear a lot of horror stories about roommates, so I kind of wanted to talk about what it's like to have roommates for the first time. Because, you know, before you have roommates, you have family. And with family, you can be like, you know, we get so angry at each other, but we're family. We love each other, you know? And with roommates, sometimes it turns out that you're like, so-and-so is pretty cool, and then you have a fight, and you're like, you know what? You're not family, so this has killed everything that's going on. And that's hard. Sometimes you wind up with great roommates. Sometimes you wind up with awful roommates. And if you wind up with awful roommates, it's always good to get out of that situation as quickly as possible. I have a friend who spent over a year with a roommate that was a kleptomaniac, and I don't know how she handled that, because I would have just lost my mind. I would have been like, why are you taking my things? Why? Why is this happening? Like, I would have lost my mind. I don't know how she did that. But I think that the thing that's more important to talk about is how you can be the great roommate and not the awful roommate. So, at least for me, having grown up as not an only child, but a far younger child than my other siblings, you wind up getting very, very used to having your own space. And I think that this is a problem that a lot of only children have as well. That you wind up feeling like you deserve a lot of privacy, which you do, but you can't demand it when you're in a situation where you have roommates. There's just no, you're sharing a space with somebody, and I think a lot of times, if you're like me, or if you're an only child, if you're just somebody who spent a lot of time on your own as a kid, you wind up not necessarily thinking of the other people that you're living with, and you also don't realize that certain things that you do might be upsetting to them or distracting to them. I had a roommate who used to, opera sing at 1 a.m, and then we'd be like, "What are you doing? We're trying to sleep." And she'd be like, "Oh, I didn't know that you could hear me." It's like, what? Of course you did. There are always going to be moments where you have tense interactions, and one person isn't thinking of the rest of the group, or one person doesn't mesh with the rest of the group because you wind up being very set in your ways as a kid, even though they say that it's only adults that do that and that kids are very flexible. We are, but when you grow up in a certain type of household, you get accustomed to that certain type of household, and you take that with you. And so sometimes you wind up having to adjust. You need to be able to talk to the other person and be like, okay, so this thing that you do really, really hurts my feelings, or this thing that you do really irritates me, right? Being willing to have those conversations before it turns into a blow-up. Because, again, if you've been living with only family for a really long time, then once you have an issue with a roommate, sometimes you're not entirely sure how to communicate your feelings. Because before, it's just been like, oh, it's my brother, I'll just yell at him, right? or even, oh, it's my brother, he gets it. I can just talk to him. But you're suddenly thrust into this situation where you're sharing all of your space with another person, or with multiple other people. When I moved out, I had 2 roommates, and so it was 3 of us all trying to understand each other. We all slept in the same room, and that was rough. Growing up on a farm all by myself, it was rough moving into that sort of a scenario, but you need to be willing to communicate your problems and also be willing to talk when somebody else has a problem with you, which is the hard part. That's the worst. That's the worst part, is being willing to say, okay, this thing that I do upsets you, and I kind of see your point. Or maybe you don't see their point at all. And that's when it all goes haywire. But, just be respectful of space, be willing to talk. These are all really, really important things. And even, we've talked a lot about only children or children that grew up, for the most part, alone. Let's talk about people that grow up with lots of siblings. Yeah? Because that's a totally different animal. In that case, the people that I have lived with or been very close with that have grown up with lots of siblings, sometimes they don't understand space at all in terms of, they're so used to lots going on around them, lots of people, lots of activity, that sometimes the person who is used to a big family and the person who grew up mostly alone, sometimes there's a clash there, because the person who grew up mostly alone is like, I need my space, I need my time, I need you to leave me alone, right? And then the person who grew up with lots of people around is like, hey, you want to hang out? Hey, what's going on? Hey, how are you? Hey, let's talk. And you're just like, and on both sides, right? Introverts and extroverts sometimes have a hard time. Let's talk about introverts and extroverts really quick, because I think that sometimes people don't know the exact definition of those things. So the best way to put it is that extroverts get energy from being around people, and introverts get energy from being alone. That's like the best explanation that I've ever heard, and that's the one that I use all the time. So it's important, depending on what you are, it's important to be honest with yourself about what you are. Because I think that this is going to sound silly, but at least in like the nerdy, geeky world that I'm so heavily invested in, a lot of people take a lot of pride in being introverts, which, we shouldn't be ashamed of ourselves for being introverts. But there's also the people that really are extroverts, but feel like they can't express that very well, because everybody that they know is an introvert, right? Like, when you have a lot of introverts with one extroverted friend, that extroverted friend winds up feeling kind of sad. And depending on what major you go into, depending on the group of people that you hang out with, sometimes you're going to find yourself realizing, man, I need to interact with more people, or I need to interact with less people. And realizing that about yourself, and also realizing that about your roommates, is so important, because you don't want to be the person who is robbing somebody of their energy while they're trying, like, when they're taking their time by themselves after school, they're like, I just need a minute. Like, I just need, or even an evening, I need an evening by myself. You don't want to be that roommate that's like, hey, what are you doing? Hey, you want to hang out? Hey, what's going on? Hey, how are you? And the opposite is also true. Like, I've always felt bad living with extroverted people and being the one who is robbing them of their social time. So you're going to find yourself being reliant on your roommates at first. And that's normal, because typically they're the first people that you meet. Whoa! Typically they're the first people that you meet when you're in college, when you've just moved to like a new town, you don't know anybody, maybe nobody that you know went to that same college. Your roommates are typically going to be your first form of consistent social interaction. And understanding them better is going to help you out so much. And if you wind up living with that roommate who's like kleptomaniac girl, tell somebody. Just get out of that situation. Don't feel bad. Because that person is infringing on your rights as a member of that house or that apartment or that dorm. So that's something that I think a lot of people have problems with too, is realizing at what point is it too much, because when you live with somebody else, it's hard because, the magical people just explain to me why there are all sorts of loud noises. Okay, so, yeah, like, being willing to sit and say, you know what, this isn't okay, is important. Yeah, I think that that's pretty much what I have to say about that. Just realized I haven't taken a drink of coffee at all. So now we've done it. Oh my gosh, it's so hot in here. Wait a minute. Oh. There are books over here that are like trying to fall. Alright, there we go. Much better. Do you like how I have one finger that's like still painted? Do you want to know why? Because I ran out of nail polish remover. And I haven't gotten to get more. That's literally the only reason why I have one yellow thumb. My life. My choices. The choices that I make in my life. What can you do? So later, I'm going to be doing the dunk tank. And that's going to be a thing. It's going to be a super, super magical thing. They were explaining to me that it's hypoallergenic. I know that a lot of you guys were concerned, because I'm lactose intolerant, that falling into a milkshake was going to just ruin everything. But I was talking with one of the guys who's working on it, and he was saying that it's all hypoallergenic, that it is real milkshake, but it's like unflavored milkshake, and there's no lactose. It's completely hypoallergenic. And I was like, all right. I don't know entirely what that means, but that's okay. Okay, so let's, do you have any questions about roommates? Do you have any questions about, like, really either of the things that we've talked about these last 2 days? Moving out for the first time or roommates? Let me know. If you have any questions, feel free. Oh yes, butts. So many people are tweeting me butts. I love you. Lord Butts. Butts. Perfect. You guys are amazing. Yeah. If you have any questions for me about either of those topics, feel free to hit me up. If anybody comes and visits me in my room today, I'll also ask them what their first roommate experience was. I still haven't met Rahat. I've met Chester and Jen and Mika Kitty, and that's it. So hopefully I'll meet Rahat later. Maybe we can ask him about roommates. What is the worst roommate horror story that you have? Oh man, what would the worst roommate horror story be? Honestly, the worst thing, because I feel I'm very empathetic. So the worst situation that I had was when I was living with two people that hated each other. Like, legit, just really, really, really hated each other. And they were both friends with me. So they were both constantly talking to me about the other person and being so angry and just, it was awful. Like, I know that kleptomania sounds really bad, which of course it is. And I've heard so many, way more awful horror stories than that in terms of roommates. But in terms of my personal feelings, the worst thing was when I was friends with two people and they really, really, really hated each other. That was so sad. It was so sad because I was just like, oh, I want you guys to get along. I want us all to just have a nice home, especially since at that point I was getting up at 6 in the morning and I would come home at 12, maybe 1. And because of that, when I came home, I wanted so badly to be coming home to a peaceful place. And it wasn't always happening. And that was so sad. But what can you do, guys? You can't, that's the other thing, is you can't control your roommates. They're people. They're people and they're gonna do what they wanna do. And if you can help them somehow, then that's great. But if they dislike each other, there's really not much that you can do about that. If they dislike you, there's not much that you can do about that. And you know, sometimes that means that you gotta move on. I've been in that situation where I had two roommates that really didn't like each other. I was stuck in a lease for a long time in that apartment. Bad. I was just like, I need to get out of here. Like, I need to get out of here. I can't handle this anymore. It was just like a really negative zone to come home to. So yeah, that would be like my worst roommate experience. We get insightful Dodger today. Yeah, Brianna, doing what I can. Do you have any experience dealing with people or roommates who have Asperger's? That's an interesting question. When I was in the theater department, we had two different guys who both had Asperger's, and they were incredible. Like, I absolutely loved them. I think that's why I get really upset when people throw around the term like Aspie or get really negative about that, because every person that I know that has Asperger's has been really, really incredible. And it just takes patience, you know? And if you wind up with a roommate who has Asperger's, it will take patience, but everybody has something that is really beautiful and unique about them. And I think that shines through really brilliantly with the people who have Asperger's, because they're so focused and vibrant about specific things in their life. And I think that's why it's so interesting and wonderful to interact with them, and why I became such good friends with them. And yeah, if you ever meet somebody and you find out that they have Asperger's, don't judge, don't like make assumptions, don't feel weird about it. And even, you know, I'm not gonna say that, because if you do feel weird about it, don't hate yourself for that, but be willing to interact with them and see that there's something amazing about that person, because I can guarantee you there will be something that's amazing about that person. And it's so interesting to interact with them and see what it is that they feel so passionate about, because like I was saying, it just shines through so strongly with them, because there's so much focus there. So yeah, I've worked with multiple people who have it for a long time, for years, and they're great. Love them. So many butts. Jen has louder butts though, which means that Jen's microphone is louder. That's okay. That's okay. Can I get a roommate like Jessie Cox, the lady killer whale? I don't know. Jessie Cox, the lady killer whale, is apparently hanging out with a clownfish upstairs. Whatever. I'm not jelly or anything. Why did you leave me, Jessie Cox, the lady killer whale? I guess, you know, Jessie Cox was looking for another flying fish so that you could feel at home in university, and that's okay. I understand. I get it, Jessie. It's fine. I just hope that, you know, this isn't the end of our friendship. Yep. Okay. As someone who may be going to university pretty soon, what are some good icebreakers to get to know your roomies? From Timo. Oh, that's an interesting question. What are some good icebreakers to get to know your roommates? I'm trying to think of how I've like interacted with my roommates right off the bat. It's normally like, for me, and you're all gonna make fun of me because you know I love food, but for me, like, the biggest thing that has always solidified friendships for me is that first meal. Like, being like, hey, do you want to get food? Or like, hey, I'm gonna go grab lunch. Do you want to get lunch? And, you know, depending on the personality, they'll say no, or they'll be like, sure. And if they say sure, that's a really good opportunity that isn't awkward to, like, interact and see what they're like. Another thing that has always helped me is if you share a space together where you're putting your computers. Like if you both have your computers in the same room, it's a very easy way to see what they're interested in. Because if you're able to see their monitor/monitors, you're going to find out very quickly how they spend their time on the internet. And at least for me, so many of my friendships, if I'm interacting with them online, like I get to know them so well that way because I've been doing it for so long, which is so weird. But I don't know, I'm trying to think what else there is. Just like sharing interests and interacting over a good meal. Those are things that I've always loved. You know? So yeah, I hope that was helpful. That might not have been helpful at all. From Brad. Brad said in all caps, "What do you do if your roommate is really hot? I'm afraid to get a roommate that is really hot. Like, what would I do?" Oh, Brad, you poor baby. I know people who have moved in with somebody as just like a roommate and then wound up dating them, and it's worked out. Like, that can totally work out. But if you're living with somebody and you start dating and then you have a bad breakup, that's the worst, because then you're that guy/girl who is staying at your friend's house all the time because you're like, I don't want to be around them. Like, I really just don't want to be around them. And then you don't feel safe in your space, right? So it's important, if you're going to date somebody that you're living with, it's important to make sure that you're like super interested in that person, because otherwise, like, if it's a fling, there's such a huge possibility that will make you feel unsafe in your own house. It's the worst. It's the worst feeling. But you know, if you have like a genuine connection, if you really like that person, who am I to say don't go for it, right? But if they're, here's the rule of thumb that I've just made up that might be totally false. If they're super hot and that's the only thing that you're into, no, don't do it. If you have a really good connection with that person and you really like that person genuinely, then go for it. If they like you back. If you have good this, then go for it. But no, if it's just like, oh, this person's really hot, what do I do? Guys, no. Guys, no. Keep it in. Keep all that in. Do you get along better with introverts or extroverts? From Chic. I know how to interact with introverts a lot better than extroverts because I am an introvert. Although at the same time, I still feel guilty when I sit in my room for a long time. Even though I mostly live with introverts and have always mostly lived with introverts, I've had some extroverted friends that I've lived with that did the thing that I was talking about, where I would be like, I'm home, I've spent all day at school, and I just need my space. Like, I need my me time or I'm going to go insane. And then they just like walk in, sit on my floor, and just talk to me constantly. I'm just like, no, please, like, I think you're great, but I need you to leave. Like, I always feel so bad about that. And I think that I have like kind of a fear of that now, that even though I'm living with introverts, that they want to talk to me and I'm like, no. You know? But I understand introverts a lot better, which I think is natural. Extroverts understand extroverts, introverts understand introverts. But I've made a big effort to try and understand extroverts better. And those of you who watch my coffee time, you know that I've also made a huge effort to just interact with people more in general. Because, I don't know, it's very easy for me to get used to being reclusive in a negative way. So I've tried to like hang out with friends very consistently. I've tried to do more projects. I've tried to just interact with different kinds of people more so that I understand how people are and so that I have a better idea of how to read people. But yeah, I would say it's just like a base answer to that question. I get along better with introverts than extroverts. I keep picking up my phone backwards. Why am I doing that? What is one thing that no matter what you and your roommates just could not agree on? Keeping the living room clean has always been a big issue. It was never an issue when I lived with Ro, because Ro is just like, the second she feels any sort of anxiety, the house is sparkling, like spotless, which also like kind of stressed me out, because I was like, oh god, there's nothing is dirty at all. But like there's a mid-range, right? So for me, it was always, oh sorry, hold on just a second. Hold on just a second. Yeah, no problem. Okay, I'm back. What were we talking about? Oh, like, yeah, like shared living spaces. It's hard because, again, sometimes people have grown up in a house where they don't care about where they throw stuff. And I always, in my house, when I was growing up, it was always, your room can look as messy as you want, to a certain extent. My mom would ask me to clean my room sometimes. But for the most part, it was just kind of like, all right, your room can be messy, whatever. But do not leave stuff in the living room. Do not leave stuff in the kitchen. If you do, at the end of the day, I will tell you to pick it up and take it to your room, right? So when I first started living with roommates, I realized that that's not how most of the people that I know lived. And that's always something that really bothered me. Dishes, if nobody did dishes, I was like, that's frustrating, but whatever. But if I came home and the living room was just littered with somebody's stuff, it drove me insane. So I was like, I can't use the living room, you know? And sometimes I had big projects, and I would be like, oh, okay, I'm not gonna do this in my bedroom. I'll take all my stuff out to the living room, like do my sewing, whatever else. And I'd get home and there would be like clothes everywhere and books everywhere, and I was just like, no, come on, right? And they wouldn't even be home. So I think that's another one of those things where it's a good conversation to have. Like, what's your level of cleanliness? And don't ask it in a way where it sounds judgmental. You know, don't ask it like, how clean would you say you are? Because I'm sparkling spotless. But just understanding how clean each other is, and also be willing to say that you are a messy person, because I think that, you know, like, people feel a little bit of anxiety about being honest about that. Like, oh, no, I'm pretty clean. And after you live with them for a while, you're like, why is there a smell of dead things in your room? Why is that happening? You know, if you're a messy person, be willing to say that you're a messy person. Say that messy people are very creative. It's fine. Organized mess, right? That's always been my life. But yeah, just be willing to be honest about yourself and be willing to have that conversation. Again, like, communication helps so much. Even if you disagree on something, at least you know where they stand, right? And you'll kind of understand when they get upset. Happily Aaron asks, what anime characters would you want to be roommates with? Go, 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 go. Wait, did she ask anything else? Hold on. Let me just make sure. That's the whole thing. Go, 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 go. Was the end of it. I knew there was something else. What anime character would you want to be roommates with? Oh, that's a good question. Oh, I don't know. All of them? Oh. My favorite anime characters are always, like, crazy. So I don't want to live with any of them. Although, if I lived with Kuroko, it would be like he wasn't even there, right? He would drink all the milkshakes. He would drink all the dairy, which would be great because I wouldn't want it. Like, we could get along really well in terms of the fridge. All of his great eccentric basketball roomies could come over all the time. And I'd be like, you're all pretty and funny, but they wouldn't actually live there, so I wouldn't have to deal with, like, how crazy they are. would just be, you know, me and Kuroko, like, hanging out and having a great time, but sometimes I don't realize he's there. Perfect. I would want to live with Kuroko. That's what I landed on. And he's got Puppy. Kuroko dog and Sherlock cat could be best friends. That's my answer. That's my answer. Thank you, Aaron. I love you. Messy people are creative. Thank you for validating my clutter. You're welcome, Kimberly. Roommates that don't wash their dishes. God, I know. I've gotten so much better about dishes. I used to be that roommate that didn't wash dishes. Like, that was the thing that people would get frustrated with me about, was that I would be in such a hurry all the time. Because you guys know I'm like a go person when it comes to work. So I would get up really early, I'd eat something, I'd leave the dishes, I'd come back at night, I'd eat something and be like, God, I'm so tired. I'd go to bed, leave the dishes again. And my roommate had to have one of those talks with me. My really good friend Kayla, at the time, she sat me down and she was like, this has to stop. I can't be the only one who's doing dishes all the time. Like, I realize that you're busy. I get that I'm home way more often than you are, but it's not fair that I have to do everybody's dishes. And I was like, you're right. And I got a little bit better. I didn't, like, fix it, but I got a little bit better. And at this point, I've gotten way better. I normally do, like, all of my dishes. So, actually, the last couple of days, I haven't. The last couple of days, I've been like, oh... because I've been, like, so tired and weird. But in general, I'm pretty good about dishes at this point. That was my big vice. So yeah. But I those of you who are the one roommate in the house that does the dishes, I feel so bad for you. Would you want to room me up with Sherlock and Watson? Sherlock would be a nightmare to live with. Sherlock would be the worst to live with, you guys. It would be just like body pieces everywhere and like chemicals. I think I would rather live, if I had to choose between elementary Sherlock and Watson and BBC Sherlock and Watson, I would rather live in the elementary apartment. Yeah, so I live with them in that because there's lots of space. Even though Sherlock just walks into Watson's room all the time and does whatever he wants. Whatever. Yeah, if I had to choose, I'd do that. Dodger, I'm going to miss the shake tank. Will you get footage of it from Rad Damien? I'm gonna ask. I'm gonna ask if I can get footage of me falling into the tank because I think that would be amazing. For those of you who can't see it or are in different time zones. Aaron says, best answer ever. I love you. I love you too, Aaron. You're so pretty and I miss you. What is your ringtone? Here, let me play it for you. Settings. Okay, I'm gonna turn my... Oops. Come on, sound. What? No. I just want to turn my sound up. Aw, come on. There we go. Okay. Right now, is that the microphone? Right now, this is my ringtone. Oops. Can you hear that? It's the Link barrel beat from YouTube. I love it. But this is what I wake up to. Speaking of Sherlock. Yeah. Yes. So yeah, those are my ringtones. Would you live with Hannibal Lecter? Think of the food. Oh, he would make such beautiful food. He would make the prettiest food. Do I have to know that it's people? Here, we need guidelines. Like, do I know that Hannibal is a cannibal? Do I know it's people? Or am I just like blissfully eating all of this amazing I don't know, guys. That food looks real good. So maybe I'd be cool with it. I was expecting the Attack on Titan theme to be your ringtone. I know. That would have been great. I want to change it to friends for eternity, loyalty, honesty will stick together through thick or thin. That damn song, I want that so badly. College right out of high school from Spencer. I don't think that that's a bad thing at all. I think that there is a huge number of people who need time, who need like a little bit of figuring out what they want to do time. And that is totally fine. That is completely fine. Some people go to community college, some people just get a job and work for a while. And college is expensive, especially, here, college is so much money and so many people are in debt for like years and years and years of their life. And I think that we should be less judgmental about the fact that some people would much rather not waste the money while they're not sure what they want to do, right? I don't think that that's a bad thing at all. And taking time to kind of wind down from high school and figure out what they want to do and where they want to go and where their life is taking them. I think that that's important. And some of you might decide not to go to college, and that's also totally fine. Everybody's different. Everybody needs different things. So if someone were to come up to me and be like, I'm graduating this year, I think I'm, going to take a year off, I'd be like, good for you. What are you going to do during that year? That's important. If it's, I'm going to do nothing, no. No. You have to spend that year doing something to improve yourself. I think that that's, if you're just not doing anything for that year, you need to do some sort of self-exploration or something that's going to help you grow and understand yourself better so that you know where you want your life to go. I have a really good friend of mine. I love him dearly. He spent 3 years just kind of living with his parents and not doing anything. And now he's like, what have I done? Right? Because most of us at this point now have figured out kind of where we want to go. And he feels really behind, which isn't a bad thing, but it can affect your confidence in a negative way. When you've taken a lot of time to just kind of do nothing and then try to get into the world when everybody else has kind of moved a bit further forward. I think that will wind up being rougher on you in the future if you literally don't make any effort to understand yourself or what you want to do, I guess. Is what I'm trying to say. So, but yeah, if you don't go to college right away, if you drop out of college, I got no judgment for you. No judgment at all. You do you, man. It's no big. It's people? I know. If I found out it was people, I'd be real sad. Don't googer too hard. Dooger is just like falling apart into a word that just like doesn't make any sense. TB was saying on Twitter today, he was saying that he has started having just like a little bit of coffee and he's not a coffee drinker, and he said that it makes him feel like he has superpowers, and I'm like, yes, come to us, TB, drink all the coffee. Makes me so happy. And then a bunch of people responded to that with, oh, TB, don't dooger too hard. I love that that's become a term. I love it. I know many people who dropped out at 16 got their GED and immediately went to college. Thoughts? I think that that's awesome if you're able to do that. But high school is one of those really important social times. I originally went to a very, very, very small school, and I was there until through middle school. We had almost no kids. Like, it was the smallest. It was so tiny. It was in the middle of the woods. And then I asked my parents if I could go to public high school. Because I could tell, I don't know how, but I could tell that I was a little bit socially behind. And that I didn't really understand kids my age that I was going to be interacting with for the most part. You know, I only knew the social structures of this one school that I had been in for years. And so when I went into high school, I did so much growing up there and learned a lot of positive and negative things about people that helped prepare me for college, for working, for interacting with people in general. And I don't think you should sell that short. If you're able to drop out, get your GED, and immediately go to college, that's incredible. But I think that all of high school, the social interactions that you get through high school and the way that you grow along with everybody else growing is really important and will affect a lot. I guess that would be my feelings. That would be my feels. Although I've met people who were homeschooled their whole lives and are awesome and have no weird social problems at all. So I guess it depends on the person. But I know for me, I'm really glad that I went to high school, like went to public high school and went all the way through it and did all of it. Because I was weird, like not in a bad way, but you know, I just didn't get things. I was like, I got into high school and went, what? People swear? You know? It's like people say bad words. So, it was good. It was good for me to go to a for real school. New Attack on Titan opening and closing songs suck. Opinion? I'm okay with the new opening, but it's not as good as it's not as good as the original. I actually like the ending, and I normally don't like ending songs, so. You don't know he's a cannibal, but he does tell you how you smell all the time. Hannibal. Oh, okay. So we're going back to if you could live with Hannibal, would you? So you don't know that he's feeding you people, but he does smell you all the time. Does he ever... Well, that doesn't matter, I guess, because then I'd be dead. I was about to say, does he ever kill me and eat me? But then it wouldn't matter. Okay, so... Oh, man. If I had a roommate who had a beautiful house, made delicious food, I didn't know it was people, but he keeps, like, sniffing me, that might weird me out. That might weird me out a lot. That might weird me out to the point that I was like, but I do love food. Oh, guys, this is hard. I'd move in, and then I'd probably wind up being like, this isn't working out, and I'd leave. Now I've got Friends for Eternity stuck in my head. This year will be my first year in high school. I'm a bit terrified to meet new people. Unicorn, crocodile, duck is your name. Oh. I was terrified. Oh my gosh, going from dinky school to huge high school, I was so scared. I didn't know anybody. But it turned out okay, you know. The best advice that I would give is don't pick your friends immediately. You know? Be nice, be friendly, and kind of get a sense of a group of people, because it's so easy to accidentally, like in your desperation to know people and fit in somewhere, it's so easy to fall in with a group of people where you realize, oh my gosh, this is not where I want to be at all. And that has happened to me before. So, you know, it's gonna be scary. It will be scary. I've done it. It's not fun. But if you're, if you're just nice, not overly eager, and you really take your time to find the people that are on the same wavelength as you, it's important. Important. So that's what I would say. You're gonna do great. You're gonna be amazing. And I understand your fear, but you'll find people that you get along with, and then you'll have so much fun, and it'll be great. I feel like a fanfic between Dex Bonus and Hannibal is necessary. No, come on, guys. From Michael, what would you say to someone who is going to uni in England but is thinking about doing their second year in America? I don't know, because I don't know what school is like in England. I don't know what that's like at all. What is that like? Is it just like American college? Like that's my big question. Like, is there a big difference there? Da, 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 da. What advice would you give to improve confidence? I have terrible confidence, especially around people I don't know. From Jack. To improve confidence? I've gone through stages of feeling very confident in myself and feeling very insecure about myself. Like, depending on what age I was, I've been so anxious about meeting people before, or like interacting with people. And I think the best way to learn that it's going to be okay is to challenge yourself to do it, which is terrifying, by the way. Like, to go into a situation where you don't know many people and force yourself to interact with somebody is hard and terrifying. But that honestly has helped my confidence a lot. Like, just being willing to talk to people and realizing, like, when they interact back, it validates that it's okay. That it's okay for you to be a person who is talking to that other person, that, you're worth their time. So the best way to learn that is to challenge yourself. That's how I've always been. And I've definitely gone through stages where I've just been like, everybody's going to hate me. Nobody's going to want to be my friend. Nobody's going to want to talk to me. Everybody's going to think I'm so annoying. I've had these worries a lot in my life. A lot. And sometimes they've been really strong, like cripplingly strong. And the best way that I learned to ignore that voice until it eventually just mostly went away is to make myself interact with people. And sometimes you're going to meet somebody who's mean, and you have to realize that they're just a mean person. That's the worst, is when you're like, okay, I'm gonna talk to some people. It's gonna be fine. You talk to a couple people and they're really nice, and then you talk to one person who is just so mean. You're like, why are you so mean to me? Oh, it's because I'm right and I'm awful and annoying and nobody likes me, right? You can't let awful people validate things that you tell yourself when they're negative, because that's not somebody you would want as a friend anyway, right? You want to find the people who really think that you're awesome and that you think are awesome. And I promise that those people are real. Like, I promise that those people exist. There's a possibility that they are also busy feeling like nobody would like them. And it's always a magical, wonderful feeling when you meet somebody else and you're like, we should be friends, And it's like genuine and honest. But it takes work to find people who are worth your time, and that sucks. But you can do it. I think you can do it. It's gonna be great. Okay. Why did you just hum Friends Forever? Now it's stuck in my head, and I just got rid of it a day ago. Winky face. Oh, you're not actually angry. Winky face, really? Please. If you can live in one anime world for the rest of your life, which one would it be? From Jason. If I could live in an anime world? What a good question. It wouldn't be Samurai Champloo. It wouldn't be Death Note. It wouldn't be... I'm trying to go through my favorites. It wouldn't be Yu Yu Hakusho. Maybe Slayers. How many of you saw Slayers? Like old school Slayers, right? I mean, the new stuff is good, but old school Slayers, I would love to live in that world. I don't know if I would want black magic or white magic, though. Probably black magic. I think that the black magic is way more interesting. Like, at the time, I wanted to be Lena Inverse. She was so great. She was short and like had no boobs. It was great. I was like, yeah, I want to be you. You know? I would love that. I would love to be in the Slayers universe and meet all of those quirky, ridiculous people. Probably not Amelia. She was a little hard. She was a little tough to interact with. As like a viewer to TV situation, I was like, oh my goodness. If you say justice again, I'm gonna lose my mind. But like, Zelgadis was kind of like an in-between, right? And then Lena was just like rocking the black magic. Oh, it was great. It was great. Gowry was useless though. What is American college like? You take one course for 3 years, but you decide what to do? Like I'm doing media production. Take one course for 3 years? I feel like that was worded in a way where I don't entirely understand. American college is, okay, here's the setup. You have required classes. You have things like math, you have to do a certain number of sciences, you have to do like an art or a language. It depends on your major. But for the most part, there are specific classes that you have to take no matter what. And a lot of people go to community college to get all of those done and then go to university so they can really focus on their major. I didn't do that, which is why at the very end I had to take my math class that I put off for 5 years. Don't make my mistakes. Oh my goodness, do not make my mistakes. Take your math class. If you are going straight to uni after high school, take your math class immediately because you will forget everything. You will forget everything, and it's awful. But, okay. Yes. So, for hopefully 4 years, you go to American college, right? And you pick a major, you pick a minor, or you're a double major, which means you have to do way more work. And then you have to take a certain number of courses, specific courses, in your major, and a certain number of courses in your minor, and then you're required, like math. Unless you're majoring in math, then you're taking all sorts of math. But, like for me, I majored in theater, and I, in my sophomore year, auditioned for what was called the Bachelor of Fine Arts program, which basically means you are entirely focused on one form of art. So I auditioned for the acting program, and that was amazing. Like I felt so good about getting into that because they almost never let people in. And so I auditioned for this program, got in, and was immediately told that I had to act in every single show that we did. Like every single major show that we did, I had to be in. And if I auditioned and they didn't have a role for me, then I had to be on crew. So I realized a couple months in that this meant I wouldn't be allowed to do scene shop and I wouldn't be allowed to do costumes. And that depressed me. I got so sad to the point that I would act in the main stage show, and then I would design or be a scenographer for a smaller student show. And that like destroyed me. I didn't have the time for that, but I was doing it anyway, which was so dumb. So like here I am going to rehearsals for like 3 or more hours at a time, and then I would be going to production meetings and designing all of this stuff for other shows, and I realized that I just needed to drop the Bachelor of Fine Arts program. Even though I had taken the time to get into this special program, I was like, this isn't for me. I can't do this. So like even if you really love a subject and you really love your major, sometimes you need to switch focus, right? Okay, so, okay. So, dang it, what was I saying? What were we talking about? Oh, the way that the American college works. So yeah. So my college experience wound up being 5 years because I was in this program and took all these classes that I wound up not needing. But normally you're there for 4 years and you have to take a certain number of major classes, a certain number of minor classes, and all of your requirements, and then you leave. And for me, it was a little bit different because I got into this awesome program and then realized I didn't want to be in it anymore and dropped it. And my professors were so cool about it. They were like, look, acting is hard. Acting is one of those, not in like a condescending way, but just, do you know how many people want to be actors? So many people want to be actors. And it turns out that when you get into the real world and you're trying to be an actor, it's a very slim chance that that's going to work out for you. If you love it, you should go for it. I'm not discouraging you at all. If you love it, you should go for it. It's the same for designers. I mean, I switched my focus to more design stuff and construction stuff. But even then, there are so many costume designers in the world that have no job. Because it's just like, it's just a packed world. Oh, is that the AC? Oh, heck yeah. Oh, come to me. Oh, it feels so pretty. It feels amazing. Wait. Yeah. So yeah, that's how my college experience went. And I put off math until the very end and had forgotten everything. So stupid. So stupid. Okay. I'm a little out of time, but could someone explain to me what all this BullseyeU stuff and Dodger's Room and Target stuff is? I'm so confused. From Raspberry. Hi, Raspberry, what's up? Oh, there's music playing. That's gonna just make it even more confusing. But, okay. So we're all in different created dorm rooms, and there are 5 YouTubers here hanging out in a room that's designed after our personalities or our already existing rooms. It's put on by Target, and we just like hang out and talk to you guys about stuff. And they have like a main stage where weird activities are happening. I'm going to be on the dunk tank very soon, falling into milkshake, so be sure to tune in for that. So just like weird fun stuff is going on, and you know, we're all meeting each other. I don't think any of the YouTubers here knew each other ahead of time, so we're all just kind of meeting each other as we go. And yeah, and my room has turned into kind of a constant Q&A and coffee time, which is right up my alley. I'm totally into that. But yeah, so it's a entirely college themed Target thing that's going on, and I'm gonna just be coming in here every now and then and being like, hey, let's talk about stuff. And then we just talk about stuff for hours. This is literally like what my live streams are like when I'm home. You know, I haven't done a live stream in a while, but when I do live streams, if you've been there, it's like, hey, you want to do coffee time for a couple hours? Cool. And that's like what we do. So it's happening. This is, you know, a normal thing, but in a room that was created for me, which is interesting. But yeah, so, okay. Let's see, any other questions? When is the dunk tank happening for me? I think at 11. Aw, yeah. Sarah on Twitter, as an answer, said, in terms of U.S. to U.K. schools, you have to check that the subjects match up so that you can transfer smoothly. U.S. colleges don't specialize the same way that U.K. colleges do. Interesting. There's another camera out there right now. So I figured I would wave since they're creeping in on me. Everyone is talking about captions. How do I turn them on? I have no idea. If you know the answer, tweet at SMIKEE0, Smikey0. He needs to know how to turn on captions. If you were to become very poor, what would you do for money? Like you couldn't use YouTube. Please answer honestly, from Jesse. Not Jesse Cox. Okay, so if YouTube were to like fall apart, what would I do right now? I would probably, honestly, I'd probably call up everybody that I know in the game industry, be like, hey, do you have any sort of a job that you know I could do? And if everybody said no, I don't know, I might like try to find a theater out here that I could work at, but it's very expensive here. I would need to be making money like real quick, which sucks. So, who knows, I might just, if I had to move back to Oregon for a while, I would, or go to Palm Desert and live in the Palm Desert house for a little bit while I was sorting myself out. And I mean, I still love theater, so I could still do theater. Like, that would be great. And I think that some of the skills that I have could transfer to sets pretty easily. I don't know. It's very different. You know, like, costumes for something like this is very different. I don't know how to use cameras. Couldn't help out with cameras. Maybe I could be a PA. I don't know. But my first inclination would be, who all do I know in the games industry? Who all could possibly have a job for me? You know? So that's what I would do first, and then I'd try to move on to the other things that I am highly interested in after that, and see what would work out. I don't know. Maybe I'd audition for a thing. Maybe I'd be like, oh, you guys need a real weird looking girl? Here. Commercials for days, guys. Be in all the commercials. Okay. Thank you for the advice. You're welcome, Jack. If you could have one Pokemon IRL, which one would it be? From Nicholas. If I could have one Pokemon IRL, Eevee. Eevee has so many things going on, like so much potential there, but I'd just keep it in Eevee. Be like, you do you, Eevee. You be whatever you want to be, you know? Everybody's gonna be like, why not Vulpix? You could have like basically a fox, but Eevees are so cute. Eevee's my favorite Pokemon. As an anime fan, would you say that you've ever had friends judge you based on that interest? From Dominic. I've had friends who don't get it, sure. I think that's another thing that's sometimes hard to find, is that friend who isn't going to make you feel peer pressured at all. I've had friends who do stupid things, like real dumb things, and I'm sure you can imagine what some of them are. But it's always been important to me to have the friends that, regardless of what they're interested in and regardless of what they do, I know that they're never going to make me feel weird that I don't do it. And that even if they don't get my interests or they don't understand how I spend my time, that they're still willing to, you know, to be my friend or be interested in, like, all right, what do you like about anime? You know, my friend Jared, who I cook with all the time, he has only ever watched Cowboy Bebop. That's the only anime that he has ever seen. And the other day he was like, all right, if I wanted to watch another anime, which one would I watch? You know, and like having that friend who doesn't like anime, like doesn't get it, but is like, you know, maybe I'll try it out again. Like, what's another one that's really good? Cowboy Bebop is fantastic, by the way, if you haven't watched it. I prefer Samurai Champloo, but I watched Samurai Champloo first. It was like my first trek into that style and that director, and I just, oh gosh, I think Samurai Champloo is the most amazing. Oh, perfect. One day I'll have my Mugen tattoo. One day, it's gonna be great. Don't worry, it's not gonna be like Mugen's face. Oh my gosh, can you imagine? Okay, so I've told my viewers before that the plan is, and I keep not doing it, but the plan is to get the 2 blue stripes on my wrist like Mugen has, just on one wrist. And can you imagine if me saying, oh yeah, I need to get my Mugen tattoo, meant that I was just gonna put like a giant Mugen face on my back. Oh my gosh. P.S. That's not the plan. That's not what I'm doing. That would be super weird. Let's see. Do you feel like learning the amount of maths that you did? Oh, you're not from here. You use plural math. You're not American. Do you feel like learning the amount of maths that you did is useful in your general everyday life? No. That sounds awful, but no, the most that I use math is in my DIY stuff. Like when I'm measuring things, when I need to add seam allowance, like anything like that. But I don't know how the math that I had to learn to graduate has ever been useful to me, which is awful. I think that math is so fascinating. It's so interesting, and I have a lot of reverence for the people who really love it and really get it. That ain't me. That ain't me. I'm a very spatial person. I'm a very hands-on person. I understand shapes, things like that. But nope. Do not understand like written math. Oh, you like immediately tweeted me again and said, sorry, I mean math, I guess. I'm sorry. I called you out on that. I was just like, oh, maths. That means you're not American. We don't do majors and minors in UK university. We just do one course, and you pick what you do within that course. Oh, interesting. Interesting. How tall are you? I'm in wedges right now. So I'm like taller than usual right now. Yeah. I don't know how tall I am right now with the wedges on, but I am 5 foot even. I don't know what that is in metric, but I'm like I've been like slowly growing, and it's so weird. Everybody's always like, wait, you're still growing? I'm like, I know. It's super weird. When I graduated from college, I was 4'9", I think, or was I 4'10" at that point? I think by the time I graduated, I was 4'10", and over the 3 years that I've been here, I've grown 2 more inches. Like, I just slowly grow, and I like to believe that one day I'll be a giant. Like, I'll just keep slowly growing throughout my entire life. How terrifying would that be? That would be so scary. My mom keeps telling me that when she got pregnant, she grew. So if I'm ever pregnant, I'll probably grow again. Things like that. Things like that. I don't know. Maybe it's a French thing. P.S. I'm French. I am French, Italian, and Scottish. In case any of you were wondering, that's like the trifecta, but there's a lot more going on. Those are just the major ones. We're mutts. My whole family is like super mutts. I was asking you about night owl roomies earlier from Timo. Night owl roomies? Oh, like if you're awake during the day and they're awake during the night? I mean, again, it's you know, try to be considerate. If you're the night owl, try not to make a whole bunch of noise while other people are sleeping. And if they're the night owl, have a conversation with them about it. Just communicate. Again, remember I had the roomie who sang opera at 1 in the morning, and that was awful. And I don't believe for a second that she thought we couldn't hear her. Nope. Nope. So if the dunk tank is full of milkshake and you fall in, does that in fact mean that the milkshake will bring all the boys to the yard? I guess it depends. If there's a swarm of men, like a bunch of male boys just show up, then yeah, totally. My milkshake. Oh, Michael, who needed to know how to turn on captions, says thank you to whoever helped him out. Guys, I don't need to know. I don't need to know. Just he does. Just he does. What games did Target put in your room? Oh. Yeah, we were talking about that yesterday. It's they're like all sports games. It's like Madden and FIFA and stuff. I hope that Face Dancer comes back. Okay, let's catch you guys up on the in-jokes of this room. Just in case they happen again, I need you guys to know, those of you who are just joining us today in our lovely Target dorm. So we have two tropes that are already happening in here. One is Face Dancer. Face Dancer is any man who comes in here and trips balls playing video games and possibly breaks things in here, because that happened multiple times yesterday. So if, while I'm gone, some dude comes in and just starts playing video games and freaking out, that's Face Dancer. Let me know. Seriously, tweet at me, let me know if that happens again. I need to know if Face Dancer is going to continue to be a thing, because I love that it was happening. I was like, I never see this happening. There was one time when I was way out there and I was looking in and I saw him doing the face dance on this. He had his face against this and he was bouncing up and down like in a handstand position, and I guess broke it. Guys, Face Dancer. Face Dancer is deadly. So there's Face Dancer. There's also Jessie Cox the Lady Killer Whale, which is an animatronic floating whale that they gave me earlier. But like I said, right now she is upstairs interacting with clownfish of no name. Because I haven't met the clownfish yet. I don't know if I approve, but you know what? Jessie Cox the Lady Killer Whale is gonna do what she wants. So can't affect her life. What was the jingle? Dodger and Jessie Cox the Lady Killer Whale. That was it. If we had a TV show about being roommates, that would be the song. So that's now you've completely caught up on what happened yesterday. Any of you who think that this is boring, you are cray, because there is a lot happening in here. If you were in a if you were in a Sword Art Online type scenario, who would you want with you to fight alongside to escape the game? Like somebody from the show? That would be Kariko. But maybe if it could be anybody, like a friend, like am I going into this game with a buddy and then we realize, oh my gosh, we can't get out, we have to fight our way out? Who would I bring with me? Who do I know that's like ripped? Strippin'. He's in the UK. We probably would be on different servers. There's Josh Mattingly. Josh Mattingly's a little bit ripped. Mindy Static. See, I have to think about these things. Like, are there servers? Assuming it's a US server, I would be fighting through a game with somebody in America. I would say probably Josh Mattingly. I think that he could punch a thing. Is there anybody that I know that's like a black belt? I guess you don't technically have to be good at a game. Or good at a game, oh my gosh. I guess you don't technically have to be a good fighter, you just have to be good at the game. That's what I was trying to say, oh my goodness. My thoughts are all just like, what is happening outside? So much music. So much fantastical music. Guys, when I'm on the dunk tank, I don't know how the dunk tank works, but I'm gonna be out there, wait. What time is it now? It's 10:17. I'm gonna be out there at 11, I think. So, when I go out there, apparently you guys are the ones that decide whether or not, like you have to do something in order to get me in the dunk tank. I need you to nail it. I need you to just get me in there, because it's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be amazing. From Linda, I don't like being around drunk people, but I know a lot of college socialization can be focused on alcohol. Any tips? I don't like being around drunk people either. It makes me super uncomfortable. Like that's one of the things about parties that really was always hard for me, is that everybody would be drunk, and I was just like, I don't like this at all. But I can say that just don't put yourself in those sorts of situations. You will find other people that feel the exact same way as you do. And you'll also, again, about peer pressure, you'll also find people who are totally fine with you not drinking. And I know that that's not the point, like, regardless of whether I was drinking or not, I didn't want to be around that all the time, you know? So, it's just important to have friends that understand, that get that sometimes you're just not going to want to be around that. And it took like a few times of me being like, no, I'll pass, before the people that I really loved hanging out with realized this just isn't her thing. And that's fine. It's not a big deal. You just have to, you know, be aware when something is peer pressure. And be willing to say, no, I'm okay. No, I'm not gonna come. You know? If you're finding that really the only social interactions that are presenting themselves to you are like parties or drunken interactions, there are always going to be things on campus that are going to be like social events. Like they're planned and they're cheesy, but they can help you meet people. Joining clubs, going to like weird school events, honestly, all of these things I did. I've totally done these things, and some of them were awful. I did college speed dating, like right at the beginning of freshman year, just to see what it would be like, and it was silly. It was very silly. But I met a couple of people, and then when I would see them on campus, I'd be like, hey, and they'd be like, hey, and you know, they didn't turn into close friendships at all, but it was a recognizable face, right? And having more and more and more of that, just like with work, it's always good to meet people. So with school, with college, it's also really good to meet people. And I don't think that you should have to be in an uncomfortable party situation if you don't want to. And you shouldn't feel bad about saying no. I said no plenty of times, believe me. Like, I tried them out. Like I was saying before, I tried to challenge myself, go to these parties, whether I wanted to drink or not. If I didn't want to drink, I didn't drink. And, you know, if you can find something to enjoy in it, then that's great. If it just makes you super uncomfortable and you don't want to be there, just make sure that you have a way to get home whenever, like, that's a big part of it, actually, that I haven't mentioned. When you're trying to challenge yourself to be more social, or putting yourself in situations that might make you uncomfortable, but you want to, like, meet people, always have a way to get home, like, at any time. If there's a way to figure that out, do that. If you've just met somebody and they say they'll be DD, this is going to sound awful, but don't trust them. Because I've been put in situations so many times where somebody's been like, oh yeah, you want to come? I'll drive. I'm going to be a DD. And you look over and they are just plastered, like they're smashed. And that's not safe. So, you know, if you can figure out a way to always have a safe way to get home at any point that you feel uncomfortable, that's going to help ease your mind a lot as well and help you enjoy yourself more, because you know that you're not stuck there. Like, that's a huge part of it that I hadn't mentioned, that I always made an effort to do. If you have a car, obviously that's great. Not everybody has a car. So, where did you get that shirt? From Target! All these clothes are Target clothes, and like, I love this shirt, honestly. I think that it's like super great. It's like, I'm gonna take this. This is mine now. What are tips you can give to a person who is moving to another country with another language for university and is very shy? I've never been in that situation. I honestly have no idea. A lot of schools, actually, I can't say this for sure depending on where you're going. A lot of schools here will have English-speaking clubs. So, like, depending on what country you're in, like what the major language is, sometimes they'll have clubs that are like, do you need to practice your language? Here, we can help you out, sort of a thing. And those are always super cool. I used to go to those. We had a lot of exchange students at my university, and I loved going to this, like, English-speaking club and helping people speak English, because the more that they were able to communicate and put themselves out there, the better. Try not to feel like you can't make mistakes with the language. After being in those clubs, I can say that the people who were willing to make mistakes and say the wrong thing and be corrected wound up doing a lot better with the language in general and wound up having a much better time because they weren't feeling as ashamed or insecure about their language skills. Because in the club situation, that's literally what it's there for. To just talk and try to put together sentences and have people there that are willing to help you put them together the right way. So, yeah, I would say that if you're going somewhere with another language, be willing to make mistakes, be willing to work hard to learn the language because again, you'll want to be able to meet people and do as many fun things as possible and learn as much as you can. But the language barrier is going to be the hardest part. And with my friend Kate, who I visited in Ukraine, she worked her butt off to learn Ukrainian because once she did, so many other things became like non-issues. Things that she had so much anxiety about were suddenly like pretty much fine because she could communicate her feelings, and that's like so important. So wherever you're moving, if you can work hard to learn the language, that's going to help you a lot. Let's see. Oh, these are all lots of comments about how tall I am. Apparently, I've been talking too much. Okay, let's see. Lizzie says, the dunk tank looks like a crazy magical dairy ice cream tower of goodness. It does, doesn't it? It looks very silly. Hey, you forgot TJ. He has muscles. Yeah, but TJ's like a... This is gonna make it sound like Josh isn't. I was gonna say, TJ's like a really nice person. Like, TJ's kind of like a fluffy personality, whereas Josh is kind of scrappy. I would choose Josh over TJ if I had to, like, fight a guy, I think. You know, like they're both fit, but I think that Josh would be more willing to like beat somebody up. Like those are just my feelings. Apparently they're gonna be grabbing me here pretty soon, so that I can get ready for the dunk tank. No. So, I had brunch with Vernon and Ginger Hayes the other day, right? So Vernon says, hey Dodger, what's your favorite brunch? And can I get brunch-related things at Target? And then Ginger Hayes said, is Eggs Benedict Cumberbrunch there? Eggs Benedict Cumberbrunch is like the best thing I've ever heard! Why haven't I thought of that? Because Jeannie and I have said Eggs Benedict Cumberbatch so many times. I've never thought to say Eggs Benedict Cumberbrunch. That is blowing my mind right now. That's like, wait, I'm retweeting that. Wait a minute, hold on, that's the best thing. That brunch was super fun, by the way. Is it weird to have a see-through wall? Yeah, it's a little weird. Because I can see when, like, people are just watching me. I'm like, what? What are you looking at? I'm just showing people how tall I am. It's not weird. We're just making Cumberbrunch jokes in here. It's not weird. It's fine. You should do a reading of Sherlock Holmes and upload it. That would be great. Okay, thanks, bye, from Anders. Oh my gosh, that would be the silliest. Although I have the Sherlock Cat book. That's kind of the best thing. It was one of those books where, you know, you replace words. Somebody replaced Sherlock Holmes with Sherlock Cat. It was the best. It was so great. It was so great. And I believe I was Watson, if I remember right. Let's see. I just switched rooms and I saw the outside of BullseyeU. You live in a box with a display window. It's true. I hope you saw that. What is that? What is the like tick tock, tick Noise that I'm hearing outside is making me nervous. The guy who's in Chester's room right now was with Face Dancer. Aw, Face Dancer! What is your favorite word of all time? I don't know. Butts. Butts, maybe. They came in and glued stuff down so that Face Dancer wouldn't break stuff. Face Dancer is the thing, you guys. I don't think you understand. Face Dancer is like a magical weird thing. So if you see Face Dancer in here, you're getting the full Dodgers room experience. Oh, Katie! Katie says you have such perfect teeth. Have you ever had braces? No. I wanted braces really bad because both of my siblings had braces, just like I wanted glasses really bad. But I never had braces. I was going to get them because these two teeth overlap. But I didn't because that's like a silly use of money to just like fix two teeth. But no, I never had braces and I wanted them so bad, which sounds so, like every person who's had braces gets so upset with me when I say that I wanted braces when I was a kid. But you know, as a kid, you don't realize that they're like a pain in the butt. But as a child, because everybody else had braces, I wanted them so badly. I was like, oh, why can't I have braces? That would be so amazing. Somehow I wound up with like okay teeth. I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful that that's a thing. But yeah, with glasses, I wanted glasses so bad when I was a kid and my eyes were fine. And now I'm nearsighted. My distance vision has gotten progressively worse. But like I can still, like there's a building like way off in the distance that I can read the numbers on right now for whatever reason. But sometimes things just wind up too blurry for me. But like I can drive without glasses. I can do things without glasses. I just don't have like super good distance vision, you know? And I have friends who, and I feel so bad for any of you like this, I have friends who literally can't see anything without glasses. And I'm just like, oh, you poor things. Poor babies. I wish that I could help you. But, yeah. Let's see here. What happened? No, is that the sound that it makes when people fall in? All right, they need me. I'm gonna go do the dunk tank, guys, and I don't know how this works, but I hope that you enjoy. However this winds up working, I hope that you enjoy. I'm gonna go change clothes because I'm stealing this shirt. So I'm not gonna get milkshake on this shirt. You crazy? All right, bye.